Hey everyone, my name is Laura Maiko, and I am the Juno Arts and Humanities Council Program Manager, Artist Program Manager, and I'm here with Cristine Crooks and Maunu, and they are from the Plein Rein Painters. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow people to filter in just a little bit while I explain to you what we're going to do tonight. Off to the right-hand side of your screen, you will see a little chat. You'll see Nancy said hello in there. If at any point during here you have questions, feel free to type in your question or message. We can see it, other people can see it, and you guys can interact with each other on this sidebar chat, which is great. Hi, Mary Pat. What we're going to do first is we're going to kind of have a little introduction. We're going to go into a little slideshow that Cristine made. It's beautiful. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what the Plein Rein Painters are, the group, and also do some Q&A. And it should be a lot of fun. So, and then at the end, we have a really fun little video. So, again, do you guys want to introduce yourself? Tell us how long you've been in Juno, how long you have been doing art, and then how about how long you started in the Plein Rein group. And we'll start off with you, Cristine. Microphone, Cristine.
Crooks, and I've been in Juneau for 40 years, and used to do a lot of art when I was a teacher with my kids in 6th grade and in the different schools that I worked in, and have always felt really connected and wanted to do art. But really it wasn't until I retired from the school district that I found I had enough time to really devote myself to doing it more routinely, and got a little studio here at the house, and was able to spend more time doing the arts.
Okay, my name is Maunu, and let me see. I've loved art pretty much all my life, but I didn't start seriously doing it until it was the early 80s, or maybe even the end of the 70s, early 80s. And I feel really fortunate. I lived in San Francisco at the time, and there was this place called the Mission Cultural Center, and there was an artist there named Carlos Luarca. And he just took a group of people in because he was also the janitor there, but I think he got studio space. And he taught us everything he knew. And so I owe just my real love for art to Carlos and what he taught me. And we painted mostly in the studio, and he was an abstract muralist. And but when I came to Juneau in 1999, so I've been here half as long as Cristine. It's unbelievable. I met Barbara Craver, and she was doing art at the time, and we actually met with someone named Jackie Kaufman, who was teaching us. And anyway, she left, and Barbara and I decided to start going outdoors. And pretty soon, I mean, I didn't know many people, but Barbara pretty much knew everyone. So she invited people that she knew that were also interested in art. And the rest is really history. It's been really 20 years for me of joy, of just meeting people, painting with people, and being able to create art together. And so anyway, I'm going to start. Is that okay with what Plein Rein is about? Oh.
Cristine made the slideshow, and then we'll get into more about Plein Rein and some of the people in it. How does that sound?
Okay, that sounds great.
All right, I'm going to mute, and Nancy's going to turn on that video. Now, since we got to see a whole bunch of the people and places, yeah, why don't you let us know a little bit more about this group?
Okay. First of all, I want to just start off with acknowledging Liz Saya. We dedicated this year's calendar to her. She was really an important part of our group. She was prolific, a prolific painter. She painted with with acrylics and very thick paint. So if you've seen her paintings, they're very textural. And she was important because we talked about, we had many conversations about art, and she always brought something new to the conversation. I think I want to just say what Colette Costa said. And she wrote something about Liz, and I wanted to actually say that because it's so true. And I'm paraphrasing, but she said, basically talking to Liz was like having a conversation with a rainbow. It was always colorful, ever changing, and then gone. And so that was Liz. We'll miss her because she was there every Saturday, and it was really good to see her on such a regular basis. And it's sad that she's gone. She passed away in August this year. And so anyway, I'll get started with Plein Rein, our history. We started somewhere around 1999 or 2000, and basically we're a very informal group of artists of all skill levels, using all kinds of mediums, who love to paint outdoors. I think that's the thing that binds us together is we love nature, and we actually meet about once there's a standard Saturday gathering. And basically it's nothing rigid. Someone will just say, we're gonna meet, or let's meet here, and whoever wants to join can come and paint, and whoever doesn't doesn't come. And so we spend about maybe between 1 and 3 hours painting. And actually in the early days we used to go out in really inclement weather all the time. But I think it's been about 20 years now. I think that that's changed a little bit. It's really, I guess it has to be pretty comfortable weather, I think, for me to go out anymore. I mean, I'll go out in the cold, but not if it's really cold. Basically, anyone can join us. There's no cards, no fees, nothing. You just come and join us. And basically, I think Cristine's going to talk a little bit later. We have a Facebook group and other ways to contact us. We do have a web page called Plein Rein Painters. And so basically it's a closed group right now, but you can join us at any time, find out what's going on, post your art. And so everyone is accepted. And we encourage you, if you even like art and don't know what to do, just come in and join us, because it's really an experience. We're naturally socially distanced. We don't gather and everyone paint the same scene, but we gather at an area and everyone picks whatever they want to paint, however they want to paint it, whether it be pen and ink drawings, watercolors, acrylics, oils, anything. Generally we don't go too far from the Juneau road system. Even though we go out into nature, we go to places like Eagle Beach or to False Otter Point or up to Eagle Crest, and where we can park our cars, not walk too far, because usually there's a lot of painting gear, and then set up. And over the many years, we've formed several traditions, and I want to really give my thanks. I mean, I want to acknowledge Cristine, because she is really the person who is, or the glue that has kept us together, because she organizes. I mean, she's, one of the things we do is a calendar, as you'll see. And Cristine really takes charge. She, sends emails, she puts a calendar together, she gets it, printed. And this year, because we couldn't meet because of COVID, she assembled them all herself. So thank you, Cristine, so much for what you do for our group, because I think without you, Plein Rein would be a shambles, possibly, especially if it was left up to me. Okay, another thing that we do is we generally apply for a group show so we can show our paintings together. And that's what we're going to be doing in November through the virtual gallery at Jack. Thank you, Jack. And then the third thing that we do, which is, a annual traditional thing, is one weekend a year, and it's usually in March, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We go to the Shrine of St. Therese. We rent a place like the Lodge, and we all go. We do art, we eat art, or we eat art, we talk art. I mean, it's a fully art immersed thing that we do, and it's really so much fun. And it really is a good way to get to know each other better, I think, and form bonds, because we're not only out there painting, we're actually interacting and doing other things. So, and we learn from each other. That's the best thing. And, I've gotten other interests myself, like bookmaking, encaustic painting, and printing, because other artists have come in and offered, just their knowledge. And that's what's so great about Plein Rein Painters.
Yeah.
I
guess Pooh, if I could tag on to that, plein air painting has become sort of this big national movement. But as Pooh said, we've been doing it here in Juneau for 20 years, even with the challenges of the weather. And sometimes you have to find a covered area like the parking garage, or even out by the glacier in the winter, there's some good overhangs where you can go and paint outdoors and be out of the direct rain. And I suppose for me, it was because the paintings and sketches I do outdoors have a different life and feeling than those I try to finish inside. And I think it's just the reference and the colors and the environment you're in outside. So I think painters who've been indoors all the time might consider coming out and trying it. And many people have come out, they're a little hesitant at first, but I think of one painter in particular, one of the guys, Steve Winker, started, he wasn't sure what was going on, and his work just took right off. And, he really is a photographer, and he brought that aesthetic to his paintings, which he does a lot now. And so if people have ever wondered about it, it's a safe way to be outside. No bears have ever approached us, and there's safety in numbers out there, I think. So, as soon as this is over, we'll be out regularly on Saturdays, but right now, if you want to join through the Facebook group, it's a closed group because we want to keep it just for painters and not have the whole world watch us. So we'll admit you if you're interested in art. And that way we can post when we're going out. Weather's good, everybody quick, Eagle Beach tomorrow. So you might consider that.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, one of the people that paint is Jim Human. And when he first started as well, he said, well, all you need to do is paint 10,000 hours and then you'll become as good as Van Gogh. Somehow that really stuck in my mind. And I may have painted 10,000 hours already. I'm not sure, but it's 20 years, so many hours. But I am no Van Gogh. But that was really an inspirational or aspirational sort of thing to try to do, is paint a lot. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with the materials, and it's an exploration.
Yeah. And I guess I could say that getting together for like this picture of us out at the shrine, it's sort of a kickstart in the spring where people maybe have a little cabin fever. We get out there and spend most of the time outside, but it's like every minute in the evenings and all, people are sketching and talking art, bringing books. And that's maybe how the calendar evolved, is that having something that we could share, a little snippet of each person's piece of art. And the slideshow showed you the artist, and I saw somebody's comment. It's fun to see the face of the artist who did that work. Maybe we should put pictures in next year of the artist. I don't know. We can try it. but that way we started sharing them, and we really appreciate Alaska Litho and Capital Copy. We just take it out there. I just do it simply on my little computer, a Word program, and we take it out there. They print it up, do a beautiful job for us. So this really is a totally local gift that you might be interested in giving to others, maybe folks who've left town, because people tell me, wow, this is, it reminds me of all the places in Juneau through somebody else's view. It's not a photograph, it's an art, an image, interpretation of the Juneau places, and done by local artists and printed locally and sold to support our Arts Council. So we hope if you haven't gotten one, you might consider getting one.
And we will be having, anyone that has come to this presentation will get 10% off. And then if you're a Jack member already, you'll get an additional 10% off, which is a smoking deal for these calendars. And we'll give you guys the coupon codes at the end of this presentation for that. What we're going to do now is kind of switch over to a little bit of a Q&A session. So if you have any questions for these women, feel free to put that in the chat. And then I know that we also have some Plein Rein artists in the chat as well. So if you also want to answer any of these questions by typing in the chat, you can certainly do that, and it will kind of broaden our experience tonight. So I'll start off with the question. And what is your best Plein Rein experience or memory that you have?
Wow. Pua, anything come to mind?
There are so many of them, but I think my very favorite one is one year we went to France. We met in France, in the south of France, in a place called Ramatuelle for a week. And thank you to Cristine and Dean again. They actually were able to organize a place that they had gone to before. And so not only was I fortunate enough to travel to France and travel around, but we spent a week in an old vineyard, or a working vineyard that hosted us, and which was right on the beach of the Mediterranean. And we traveled as a group for a week. We traveled to different places to paint, and it was, I think we ate a lot of cheese, sampled a lot of wines, and it was actually really a good eye-opening trip. So that's something else that the Plein Rein group has done. And so I feel really fortunate. And there have been other places that I haven't been on. I mean, like, I think they went to Turkey one year, to Italy, to upstate Washington on a farm. And it was all very good traveling.
Yeah. Well, I see a question. Where can someone see all the art pieces? And they are all in the calendar. And so this is the calendar, all of these images, and you get a little bio about the image and about the artist. So each one, there's a back insert that we include. So this is what the calendar comes looking like. And it's a freestanding one. We've worked through a couple different designs, and this one has worked great. And as I said, it's locally made. And good news, this one can be reused in 2027.
For people, I've already seen a few things in the chat. We have Timmy asking, how can I join this group? And then how about you also, as you add to, yes, you can join this group, but what would you tell people who might be a little timid to join the group or think they're maybe not good enough? And then what are like 3 things that you would tell any first timer to pack for their first plein air or Plein Rein experience?
I would say there are a couple of important things: a support, which is a canvas or a piece of paper or a board. And it can be any size from like 5x7, maybe smaller, to 12x16 is usually a really good size to take out into the field. And if you're just a first timer, I would suggest something like maybe a piece of watercolor, stiff watercolor paper. and some sketching pens and pencils, and either watercolors or pastels. And maybe if you want to try paints, acrylic paints. But with that, you'll need brushes. With paints, you need brushes. That's why I think with something like pastels, you just need the pastels or the pen and ink. You don't need to carry everything that you need, like the water to wash the brushes or a palette.
Yeah. I see one of the questions too is, are any of the artists interested in selling the pictures? And next week, Plein Rein is going to be First Friday at the Jack. It'll be a virtual show, and those paintings will all be for sale. I haven't seen the show yet, so I don't know. It's all being done virtually. It's going to be a virtual gallery, but those paintings will be for sale, and the commission will go to the Jack to help support it in this tough time, trying to keep the arts alive here in Juneau. No, you really can't.
What are some challenges about plein air painting that you guys have experienced?
I would say the first challenge was I saw myself as a watercolor painter, and the first couple times I went out in the winter, I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and the water froze. And that led me directly to become a pastel artist, because it was a medium that worked outside in all weather, is real easy to carry with you. And I think people should just find something they're comfortable with that they can work with quickly. You want to be able to set up quickly, work quickly, and not have too big a mess, because you may want to hike a distance from the road. So the lighter you can make it, the pack you're carrying, the further you can go and more interesting place you can find. But the nice thing about a group like ours is we've all had lots of experience and love sharing ideas, and let you sample some of our materials and try it out too.
A little bit about whose studios whose. The one on the bottom you can see now is Cristine's. And why don't you guys, I know that you love painting outside and working on art outside, but you also do art inside too. And one of the things I really loved about your slideshow was seeing all the different art spaces that you had. So what are important things that you have in your studio? What is something that you appreciate about doing art inside, even though, you know, we are talking about outside painting?
Well, I could say for me, and this is my studio here, is you have to, for me, I have to bring it back in and look. It's hard for me to complete a painting outside in just 2 hours, 3 hours. And so you may want to have some reference photos, and you want to have a little setup where you can continue to add to it or change. And my goal was always to have a small picture that I could make large. And so that's why I have an easel, and I try to go big. I'm not very good at that. But then for me, a studio is a place where you can mat and frame and display and look at things, because it takes a while to decide what you did right or what you did wrong and want to do again. So that's why I like having a dedicated space where you can just leave it. This picture makes it look like it's really neat. It's not always really neat.
And my studio right now is considered really neat. It looks a mess though, but I learned to paint abstract when I started in San Francisco with Carlos Lorca. So along adding to Cristine's comments about finishing indoors, I love doing abstract work. And so that's what I work on in the studio. When you're outdoors, you know, it's your senses are just taken up by nature. But if I'm in my studio, I can actually concentrate on doing abstract. And I usually listen to music when I do abstract work. And so for that reason, I like it. It's a place to also store materials, experiment, and store paintings.
Do you ever give art lessons in non-COVID times?
We've had workshops. We've brought artists here to Juneau and had workshops. I'm sure many of the artists in the group could do that one-on-one. It's just something, if you were interested in a particular media, go on the Facebook group and ask, and we could probably help find somebody who would do that.
Yep.
And there have been Plein Rein artists that have shared skills, like Sherry McDonald has taught us about bookmaking, and Jim Human has taught us more about printing, printmaking. And so it's actually, we can teach each other. But as far as giving lessons, I know that I'm not suited for it. There are some people more suited for it than others, and I know that I don't teach, but there may be other artists within Plein Rein that might be willing to. Although I'm happy to share my knowledge with anyone who asks. But
awesome. I'm seeing a question that says, how has architecture influenced your art? And this is a question for Pua.
Okay, I do see it's from Jonathan, who we went to architecture school together, Jonathan Kawamura. Hi, Jonathan. It has influenced my art, but the reason I went into architecture was because I loved art. I mean, that art was really my passion, and architecture, I mean, I think that looking at our built environment, I might have a different view on it. I think that I feel, that's a tough question. I wasn't expecting this. It's actually, architecture is a form of art, but it's a more disciplined form of art, I think. And I think if you can merge the two together, you can create some really beautiful architecture, because architecture as an art is made for humans. I mean, it should be something that you can navigate through, that is pleasing to you, to the eye, and also pleasing to the spaces are pleasing to live in. So that's, I guess, how architecture has influenced art.
I think we're going to start wrapping it up right now. As they have mentioned before, they have a show coming up. It is going to be next Friday. It's going to be the first Friday. They're going to be on this new snazzy virtual gallery that the Jack is doing. It's a really cool thing that you can almost, it's like you're walking through a gallery, and everything is hung and its dimensions are perfect. Right now you'll see that we have calendars. In-town delivery is free, and it's no contact delivery. We have one of our employees running around and delivering things. If you click on here now, you can get that. We do have coupon codes. So Nancy, if you will put the coupon codes in the chat. If you are visiting today, you will get the coupon code that is 10% off, and that's $2 off every calendar. And then if you are also a Jack member, we have a different coupon code for you, and that will give you 20% off since you are a Jack member. And if you're not a Jack member, become a Jack member today, because it helps us support programs like this. Is there anything else that either of you would like to say?
I think art is very important in these times. So whatever you do, inside, outside, do it.
Anything, Pua? And then before I close up, I did say that we would have a little short video of Patty's, but that for some reason isn't working on our Demio today. So we will post that on the Jack website. And right now you'll see that Nancy posted the codes. If you are not a Jack member, use the code after hours. During checkout, you'll get your 10% off. And if you are a Jack member, use the code after hours JAHC. That will get you your 20% off. Also coming up, we have things called art classes. We have Abel Ryan. He's going to be teaching us Formline, and we deliver all the supplies right to your house with that no contact mail delivery. And we have First Friday, we have lots of stuff coming up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, and we have Marms and Meeks coming up in January. They are a new letterpress company. They just bought a letterpress and refurbished it. It's an old one, and they're going to be bringing letterpress to Juneau.
Cool. All
I want
right.
to thank the Juneau Arts and Humanities Council and also the Juneau Arts and Culture Center for sponsoring this. I mean, it's a brave new world we're in, and it's pretty cool that we can do this and reach out to people. And hearing from Jonathan is great. I love that.
Yeah, we
I'd like to, I'm sorry we didn't get to see all the people who were on the, I saw more people were visiting than put something in the chat. So Nancy, if you were there, hello, all the way from North Carolina.
awesome, guys. Well, I think we'll close this up for today. Your codes are good for a little bit. So if you don't get to getting your calendar today, or you need to figure out how many people you can send them to, you can still use those codes, I think, through the rest of the week. Okay. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks,
Thanks,
Nancy.
everyone. Yeah. Are you still there, Cristine?
I am.